on the floor and you need blankets, sit up on blankets, do. Take your time, ease your way into getting comfortable for your hips, however you need your legs to be. And then just close your eyes, lengthen up through the top of your head, through your shoulders, really melting down away from your ears. Let your hands go to a comfortable place so your shoulders feel really easy and also that you feel open across your chest. And just watch your breath coming in and going out through your nose. Feeling the breath coming into your belly. Start to move a little bit with your breath, letting your exhalations bring you forward a little bit and your inhales bring you back up. Doesn't have to be far. Just starting that sense of allowing the breath to move your body and keeping the length of your spine. Next time that you come back up sitting, stay there and release your arms on out beside you here now. And take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, let's twist to our right, bringing your left hand around, maybe to your knee, maybe not. That depends on you. And once you get into the twist, feel your sitting bones draw down. And then let your back arm rise up overhead. So you come up even longer through that right side of the body there. And just lean a little bit to your left. Let yourself just come into a little bit of a side stretch, not very far. And then we'll come on back upright and lower that arm back into the twist. Let yourself come back into your twist. One more inhale here. And on the exhale, come on back around. Stop at center. And then let's go forward and back a little bit again. Let your exhales bring you forward and your inhales bring you back up. Keeping that length of your spine. Taking your time to enjoy that movement with your breath. Really gently moving forward and back. That quieting, rocking sensation really. And then the next time that you come back upright, we're going to stay there again. Take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to twist to our left. So again, coming on around, if you can put your right hand on your left knee, do. If not, it's fine to go more to the midline with your hand. And now feel your sitting bones reaching down, top of the head reaching up. And on your next inhale, let that back left arm rise up if you can. So you come into really finding that length through that side of the body. And then just lean a little bit over to your right. So again, you find a bit of a side stretch there. Breathing into the left side. And then we'll come on back up to the top and lower the arm back into your twist. Let yourself, maybe you even want to look a little further behind yourself. One more inhale. And on your exhale, unwind on back around into center. Letting your hands come on out on the floor beside you. Let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. And then unfold your arms. And if you're cross-legged, remember which leg you have in front, because we're going to all stretch our legs out for a second. Move through our feet to circle them around, whether you like to go the same direction or opposite. That's up to you. Just move through, switch when you want. Get those ankles going. Hi, Louise. And then we're going to come on back to getting comfortably seated. So if you were cross-legged, and you can switch to cross your legs, do. And then this time, instead of coming forward and back, start to make little circles with your torso. So letting yourself, you're still using your breath, exhaling when you come forward, and then inhaling as you come off to the side and back, and then exhaling as you come forward again on the other side. Now remember, these circles can be really little, or they can be bigger. Now stop and go the other direction with your circles. So you just kind of unwind there. Up forward, stay there, and if you need to put your hands to give you a little support if you're on the floor, do. If you want to separate your feet, if you're in your chair, you can go farther forward, put your elbows above your knees. Go as far forward as feels good. Think of coming forward from your low back. And once you get forward, if it feels okay to let your head hang, do. Some of you may even want to fold a little more, coming into rounding a little bit in your upper back. Be mindful of how your back feels. Let it go through your face and your jaw. Relax all around your eyes. Good. One more breath. Now we'll slowly make our way on back up and let your arms come on out beside you. Take a nice inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to twist to our right. So just coming around into that easy twist. Once you get there, inhale again. And then when you exhale, come all the way around into the other direction with your twist. So let yourself move like that with your breath. Your inhale lengthens your spine. Your exhale brings you around to the other side in your twist. So you're just moving with the speed of your own breath. And then the next time that you get ready to exhale, you're going to stop at center, coming on back into center. And then let your hands come behind you and clasp your hands behind you. Send your hands down. They may go all the way to the floor or to the chair. Let yourself just feel open across your chest here. Lengthen up through the top of your head. Good. And then release your arms. Shake your hands out a little bit and circle them around. You can come into fists and opening your hands too if that feels good. We're going to come around towards our hands and knees so that we get comfortable whether we're down on our knees or you don't have to be. You can be up with your hands up in the seat of your chair. You can also grab a blanket for your hands, under your hands or under your knees. You know that, so that you can be really mindful about starting to move through your cat-cow. Taking your time. Just letting yourself feel that tailbone initiate. We're going to finish the one we're on and come on back to a neutral spine here. And let's come on into our lunges. So whether you want to use your blocks under your hands as you step your left foot forward and come into your lunge, or maybe you want to go up higher. Maybe you want to be up on the seat of the chair. Maybe you want to be on the highest height of the blocks or the middle height or the lowest. Totally depends on you. Just enjoy now. Finding that alignment here, that front knee. Feeling the back of the right leg open up there. Engage your belly a little bit. Draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Good. And we're going to switch legs. So again, once you get there, just be mindful. Feeling your feet in the floor, alignment of that front knee. Feeling your shoulders draw down away from your ears. Feel how your belly engages here. Good. And let's switch legs again. Totally optional to lift up a hand here if you want to. Bring up your left hand or forearm to your thigh, you can. You know that. You don't need to. Stay with your hands down. Good, and we're going to switch again. So again, once you get there, if it feels good to let that front hand come up to your thigh or to your forearm up to your thigh, that's fine, or keep both hands down. Good. And then we'll come on back so we can step forward into standing forward bend. Being really mindful. Let your knees bend here at first. Feel your sitting bones over your heels. Let yourself come forward using whatever support you need. And then see if you can let one leg come straight while the other one's bent, but your feet are still on the floor. So keeping your heels on the floor, you're walking a little bit in your forward bend. So it may not be a very deep bend when you bend that knee, right? Just shift a little more to that long leg and kind of shift up into your outer hip a little bit. Good, and then come on back into center, whether you need your knees bent or straight. And just release now into your forward bend, feeling the weight of your head if you can. Giving the backs of the legs time to open up here. Feel your breath, expanding your ribs as you inhale in all directions. Good. One more full deep breath here. And then we'll bring our hands up to our hips, bend our knees. We're coming on up to standing. And inhaling our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. So find your mountain pose. And, that might mean you need to adjust yourself a little bit. Your feet, you might want to look at them. Get really even there, evenly balanced between your feet. Let them be as parallel as you can. And then once you bring your gaze forward, whether your eyes are open or closed, just let yourself enjoy. Feel the feet. Feel your thighs just gently engaging up a little bit so that you come into that lifting up feeling of the thighs upward. And feeling your hips coming over your ankles and your shoulders over your hips. Letting your chin feel about parallel to the floor here now. And then feel that light connection with your hands in front of your chest. And then we'll let our arms just gently unfold on down beside us. And inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, we'll bend our knees. Come on forward into standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find that long, flat back. Whether you like to use your legs or your blocks or your chair. And we'll step the right foot back and come into lunge. Draw your shoulders down. Find that length down the back of the body. Think of your back of your head being in line with your spine. come on into a downward facing dog pose. And you know how you get into the dog and where you have your hands is totally up to you. On the blocks, on the chair, on the floor. Just be mindful of feeling your elbows gently hugging in. You can walk in your dog a little bit too, bending a knee at a time. Good. And on the next inhale, we'll come on out to that plank. Now you know, you don't have to go all the way to a plank. You can go to your forearms if you need to. You can put your knees down if you need to. Finding that strength, really. Push-ups if you like, of course, but otherwise, focus on that core strength in your plank. And then we'll come on back into down dog. So reaching back equally through your sitting bones. Remember, in dog, you can bend your knees if you need to. Think of the length of the spine. Still opening the backs of the legs, even if they're bent a little bit. And we'll bring our right foot forward to come into lunge from here. Now you can put your left knee down or both knees down if you need to get there. Or you can come up and then back into your lunge, whatever works. And then we'll come on forward, back into standing forward, bend, feet, hips distance apart and parallel. And be really mindful. If you need to put your elbows above your knees, do it. If it feels better to let your arms hang, your hands hang down, or to hold your own elbows, that's fine too, of course. Just watch your breath. Let yourself release your face, your jaw. Imagine your forehead just smoothing out. From here, we'll let our hands rise back up to our hips, bend our knees, and come on up to standing. Inhaling our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, letting our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Let's unfold our arms and bring our hands behind us and clasp our hands together here. And let yourself just feel now, just by clasping your hands back, how open you are across your chest. Your hands are right here to feel what your pelvis is doing. You can make sure you're not tucking your tailbone forward or under you at all. Instead, it's reaching down towards between your heels. And you're lengthening up through the top of your head. See if you can come into a couple of three-part breaths. Inhaling into the belly, then into the ribs, and up into your chest. Good. And one more inhale. And on your exhale, bend your knees, come on forward. If you can keep your hands back, do. That doesn't mean you have to go far. You might not even want to go all the way parallel to the floor. Or you might. You might want to get like a flat tabletop back. Some of you might want to keep going all the way over your legs. If you can let your arms go at all off your back, your hands release a little off your back, do it. If that's too much for your shoulders, don't do it. So one more breath here. And then we'll let our arms release on down. Let your next inhale help you find that flat back, wherever you need to put your hands. And we're going to step our left foot back and come into lunge. Drawing our shoulders down, finding that length now through the back body. Really feeling the feet in the floor. Imagine you're trying to make your mat a little longer so you feel your hips engaging, your back, your belly. Good. We're going to make our way into a downward facing dog pose from here. So as you come into dog, take your time. If you like to walk anytime in dog, do. Remember to feel the elbows gently hugging in towards each other, just so you feel that hollowing, little bit of hollowing sensation in your armpits. So you're finding the muscles that come wrapping around under your arms. And we'll come on out to a plank. So strong plank. Let yourself engage your belly. Again, you can do little push-ups if you want. You can stay in your plank. Really focus on everything that's going on in the body here. You're using everything really. Your belly, your back, your arms, your shoulders. And then we're going to come on back to down dog again. Reaching back equally through your sitting bones. And we'll bring our left foot forward. So however you need to get into that lunge, take your time to get there, and then once you get there, just feel your feet pressing a little bit away from each other, like you're trying to make your mat longer. And then we'll come back forward into standing forward bend. Use support if you need it. No, don't let your back feel uncomfortable. Elbows above the knees, hands on the blocks, hands on the chair or whatever works. And then go to your breaths. Really watch your breaths. All the way in and all the way out. And then we'll bring our hands back to our hips, press into our feet as we rise on up, and inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Let's inhale our hands right on up through the midline. On the exhale, open the arms like wings as you come on forward into standing forward bend. And on your next inhale, find that flat back. And we're going to walk into down dog from here. So however you like to do that, hands can be whatever height you like. Coming back into dog. And on your next inhale, come on out to plank. Optional back bend, you know that. You don't have to. You can come down to the floor, do a sphinx or a cobra. You can come through for an up dog if you choose, or no back bend at all. And then we'll come on back again into down dog. Take your time, walk if you want to. Let your head release a little side to side if you can turn your head a little bit. Good, and then we're going to do that same thing. We're going to come back to the plank. And again, it is optional to add any kind of back bend. Not necessary. You can stay in plank. And then we'll make our way again back into downward facing dog pose. Good. Now let's bring our left foot forward to come into lunge. So again, however you need to get it there. And then we'll come back into standing forward bend again. Go right to your breaths. Right to whatever support you need to. And see if you can let your breaths pretty much even out. So when you inhale, you might want to count, and then when you exhale, try to reach at least that same count. A little bit longer would be okay too. So sometimes we think about our inhales a lot more than we do our exhales, right? So if you try to even out the length spent in the breaths, very calming. Good, so one more breath. And then we'll bring our hands back up to our hips, bend our knees. We're going to rise up to standing and inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. And just come into your mountain pose. Feel really that floating sensation, if you can, of your head up there on top. If you need to shift around a little bit too, if you need to sway a little bit, adjust anything. Just enjoy that sense of being so balanced, both right to left and front to back in your body. And once you're aligned, it's so easy to be in your mountain pose. Go ahead and unfold our arms on down beside us and shake out anything you need to. If you need to walk around, do. And I'm going to turn my chair around. If you're using your blocks, make sure they're handy here at the front of your mat, just so you can get them if you need them. And we're going to step our right foot back and come into warrior one. So front facing warrior, facing that short edge of your mat, letting yourself find that alignment of that front knee. Remember, if you'd rather your feet be a little wider apart for balance, do that. And then see if you can, once you get your feet and your legs, you're okay there up into your hips, float your arms just a little bit away from you, turn your palms forward. Let your shoulders just release there, down and away from your ears. And then we'll bend our elbows and bring our hands to meet in front of our hearts. Let yourself spread your fingers out. Feel the connection of each finger, your thumbs, your palms. Good. And then from here, we'll inhale the hands up through the midline. Now, if you want to keep your hands together, you can. You can separate your arms if you need and bring them forward. You can have your hands overhead and clasp them and send the pointer finger up if you like that hand mudra there. But just imagine there's an extra little lift as you look up a little bit, right at the base of your shoulder blades. So the belly's engaged. Now, try not to tuck your tailbone under you. Think about your tailbone reaching back slightly on a diagonal line, but your belly's still working like crazy. So your pelvis is actually tilted a little bit in warrior one. One more breath here, inhaling up the front of the body, exhaling down the back. And then we'll release our arms on down. Let yourself turn sideways on your mat. And we're going to come into a wide-legged forward bend, so get your feet adjusted. Grab your blocks if you need them. And then come on down with your hands to whatever supports you like to use. And go ahead and bend a knee at a time. Take your time to let your legs adjust. Find your inner thigh releasing there on each side. And you know, of course, if this hurts your knees, don't do it. Good, and then come on back into center and let's walk over towards the right. Whether you use your blocks to walk over or maybe you want to walk your hands over towards your foot, you don't have to go all the way. Stay and breathe. Let your legs adjust. Let yourself be with your breath. And then we're going to come on back through center and we're going to go to the other side. So again, you can be on your blocks, kind of out in front of your foot. You can walk over towards, holding on to the outside of your foot. And then just stay and breathe. Good, and then we'll come on back into center. And go ahead, and if you need to adjust your feet a little bit as you get ready to set up to stay in your pose, if you need your blocks to be stacked up, you can. Obviously, you can get yourself into keeping your back long by using your blocks under your hands or your forearms. Knees can be bent or knees can be straight in this pose. And then just enjoy your breath. Full, deep, easy breaths. One more nice full breath. And to rise yourself up from here, be really mindful. You know that. You can use your hands to help you. You can bring your feet closer first if you need to. And then once you're up there, if you're dizzy, you can keep wide for a little bit. And we're going to walk around a little bit, and then we're going to come to the other side. So left foot comes back this time. And again, as you come into that warrior one, facing the front edge of your mat, if you need to widen your stance a little bit, do, right? so you feel comfortable when you bend that front knee. You feel like you're not struggling too much with balance. And then when you float your arms a little away from you and turn your palms forward and reach down through your fingertips, again, you have this sense of being very balanced. Opening through the front of that left hip. Feel your arches of your feet rising up. We'll bend our elbows, bring our hands to meet in front of our hearts here. Spread your fingers just a little bit and feel each finger connected. Feel your thumbs connecting. And then we'll inhale the hands up higher. And again, you can separate your hands whenever you want. You can keep your arms forward. If you like the clasping and sending the pointer finger up, you can. Hugging your elbows in towards each other. If that little bit of a lift right at the base of the shoulder blades happens, you can look up a little bit. Again, you don't want to tuck your tailbone under you to do that. Your tailbone's still reaching back. Your pelvis is still at a little bit of an angle. But your belly has to really work here. You don't want to feel any pressure in your low back. Now feel your feet in the floor. Imagine you're trying to make your mat longer with your feet. You're pressing them away from each other. Quite a lot going on, right? One more breath. And then lower your arms on back down. And we're going to turn sideways again on our mat. Widen our feet to at least as wide as our shoulders. Wider if you can. And then come on forward again. Use whatever support you want underneath your hands. Take your time and bend a knee at a time. And that way sometimes it leads you to want to adjust the length of your stance again, I know. Good. And then come on back to center. Let your hands be out in front of you so your back is flat and long. So I like a block for this because I'm going to add a twist. So I like to use a block, but you can use the floor. It's fine. From here, we'll bring our right hand up to our right hip and roll that shoulder up, bringing the palm flat onto the sacrum there, finding that twist in the middle of the back. You know, if you feel like rising your right arm up, go right ahead. If it feels good to you, you can add the arm. And then we'll come on back down with the hand, and we're going to go the other side. So left hand goes up, roll that shoulder up, palm down on your sacrum. You can stretch that left arm up if you want to, but you don't need to. Good. And then we'll come on back down with the hand. And from there, bend both your knees. Put your elbows, if you can, right above your knees and support yourself. And there you are in a squat. And you can even make a little tent with your hands. Let the tips of your thumbs, the tips of your fingers touch. Let yourself just easily feel that release in your low back and your hips. Good. And now if you like to go ahead and support yourself to fold forward, do. If any of you want to let your hands come between your feet, you can let yourself come all the way forward, letting the crown of the head just soften down towards the ground. But you know, that's not for everybody. Pay attention to how your back feels. Use support if you need. And now watching that breath, again, letting the inhales and exhales be fairly long and even. Good. One more breath. And now we're going to slowly get ourselves up out of this. So take your time. You know, you can let your feet come closer together if you need to before you rise up. If you're dizzy, hold on to something or stay longer with your feet apart. And then move around and let yourself move through your feet and your ankles. If you need to let the tops of the toes push a little into the floor. Sometimes that feels really good on the feet and the toes. And this time we're going to come into Warrior 2. So bring your blocks, if you have them to the side, handy back to the front edge of your mat, stepping your right foot back. And then bending into that left knee, finding your Warrior 2 here. Let your arms float up. Let them come up higher than your shoulders, right? So the palms are still down towards the ground, but your arms are like up in a wide V. Turn your head to look to the left there, and then when the arms start to lower down, just stop when you get to that place where you can look right out over the top of your left hand easily. Feel the fingertips reaching away from the midline. Feel as open as you can across your chest and your upper back, and let your shoulders soften down. So be mindful of lifting up here in your shoulders like this. Try to feel like your arms are being held up from underneath. We'll put our right hand down on our leg, turn our left palm up, and we're going to inhale that left arm up and breathe into the left side. So really literally feel the left ribs expand with your inhale. On your next exhale, come on into your side angle where you put either your left hand or your forearm onto your chair or your thigh. And you can add that right arm up into line if your shoulder lets you, or you can keep your right hand down on your hip. So coming into that side angle pose, right? Letting yourself feel length through both sides of your body. The spine is elongated. You've got all the space in the spine as well. Beautiful. One more breath. We're going to come on back to Warrior Two. Press those feet away from each other a little bit. Finding that sense of reaching out through your fingertips. We're going to let our hands come down. And we're going to come on down into a lunge. So you can use whatever height you want. You can use your blocks, you can use your chair. Release that right heel, adjust into your lunge however you need as far as length. And then we'll bring our left hand to our left hip and roll that left shoulder up. Coming into that twist. So same twist we did when we were wide angle, right? You don't want to drop into that right side. You want to stay fairly level right here at your sacrum. And of course, you can stretch that left arm up if you want to, or you can keep the hand down. So one more breath. And bring your hand arm back down. We're going to step forward and get our feet under us, so adjust yourself to come into your standing forward bend. Easy breaths. And we'll bend our knees, bring our hands to our hips, and come on up. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down as the top of the head reaches up. Kind of like you're floating your way into your mountain pose. And then bring your awareness to being grounded equally through your feet. And imagine your head is really kind of floating up in the clouds. Release our arms on down beside us again. Move around however you need. We are going to go the other side. So I'm going to flip around here. And we're going to bring our left foot back. And come into Warrior Two. So again, getting that alignment of your legs. Aligning up that front knee. If you have to, you can kind of let your right hand slide down your inner thigh. And that'll keep your knee from going inward. Because you're kind of encouraging it out over the center of your foot. Float your arms up, if you can, into that wide open V with the palms facing down. And let your shoulders melt down, right? Really let your shoulders soften down. They're up high, so it's kind of easier to soften the shoulders down. Turn your head before you even lower your arms. And then when you're ready, let the arms come down to where you can look right out over the top of that right hand. Again, it's like your arms are being held up from underneath, so there's no reason to lift your shoulders. Shoulders are really softening down. Feel the feet in the floor. And then let your left hand come down onto your leg. Turn your right palm up and inhale and reach up and breathe into the right ribs. Feeling the ribs expand as you inhale. And then as you exhale, come on into your side angle. So you can use your chair for your hand, you can use your thigh, you can go down to your forearm. You can add this arm, left arm up into line. If that bothers your shoulder, don't even do it. Just keep your hand down. You're still in a side angle, right? You've got yourself into your spine extending out over that right leg that's bent there. One more breath. Feel that length And the space in your spine here, actually think of reaching your left sitting bone down towards your left heel. And then we're going to come on back into warrior two. Let yourself press your feet gently away from each other. It helps get you back into that core strength. Our hands are going to come down. We're going to come into lunge. So again, you can use whatever you want under your hands for your lunge, your chair, your block. Take your time. And we'll add that twist. So bring in the right hand up. Palm onto your sacrum as you roll your shoulder up, making sure you're not dropping into that left side, trying to stay level. And then you can decide about adding that arm up. You don't need to do it. You can keep the hand right down. So one more breath. And then let yourself release your hand back down. Step forward to get your feet underneath you. And bend your knees a little bit. Support wherever you need in your forward bend. See if you can let your head move around a little bit. Maybe nod your head, or maybe say no with your head. Let it feel really heavy and released if you can. Good. And then we'll bend our knees and bring our hands to our hips, and we're going to rise up. We're going to inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down as the top of the head floats upward. And if you need to, coming into mountain pose, sway around a little bit or adjust your stance a little bit in your feet, do. So you feel just like you get to that place in mountain pose. Even if you have to sway your way there, right? Your body wants to align. And once you are, it's like you could just stay here for a long time. It's quiet, but it's strong. We're going to go ahead now and unfold our arms on down beside us and shake it out. Move around however you need. Lift your feet if you want. And we're going to bring our mats into a wall today because there's fewer of us and there's plenty of room. You two there, you two there. Margaret, you can be up here or you can be by the pole. Susan, you got room back there. So bring your mat in and turn your mat so that the short edge of your mat is towards the wall like you do. Got lots of room. Good. A little different perspective, which is always nice. So just have everything with you. We're staying here, so have your blankets, your blocks, whatever you need. And let's just do a little tree pose. A nice, quiet, easy tree pose. Let's all bring our left hand towards the wall, standing on our left foot, and bringing our right foot in. Whether you decide to leave your toes on the floor with your heel to your inner ankle, with your right foot there into the inside of the ankle, you can keep the toes on the floor. You can put the foot to your inner calf if you want to. So before you even let go of the ball, find a spot to look in front of you. You can bring your foot higher, you know that. Find a spot to look way out in front of you. Now, if you're in front of somebody, you might want to look over their head, or you might want to look down 6 to 8 feet in front of you on the floor. Sometimes that makes it easier to balance, right? And you can decide about bringing the hands into the heart for a second, or not. You don't have to. You can keep your hand on the wall. Or maybe you want to bring your arms up overhead. That uplift that happens when you bring the arms up into a little bit of an open V. You can do that if it feels good. You can use the wall anytime you want. Feel that uplift in the front of that left thigh. You know, it's like that. You're just really open in the front of the hip there on that supporting leg. Good. One more breath. And now let yourself release. Turn to face the wall. Step your right foot forward just a little bit. Left foot back, but keep your heel on the floor. It's like a little mini lunge. Keep your left heel directly behind your foot, too. And then bend your front knee and let yourself, you can put your hands on the wall, make a pillow, put your head onto your hands if you want. Stretch out your calf, your left calf there that you're standing on. So, you know, if you don't feel much, you can make it longer. Just getting into the back of that leg there. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to step back towards the wall, turn around with our right hand towards the wall. And now we're going to stand on our right foot. And again, left heel can come into the inside of your ankle with your toes on the ground. You can lift your foot up to the inner calf, or you can bring it up above your knee. Now you can play with this. You know, once you kind of start to think of letting go of the wall, and you kind of feel a bunch of stuff engage, take your time. If it doesn't work out, put your hand back on the wall. Sometimes just readjusting a little bit helps. Sometimes bringing your arms up helps too, because that forces this kind of more lift. Good. One more breath. And then we'll bring that foot on back down and turn to face the wall. Step our right foot back, left foot forward. A little mini lunge. Remember that heel of the right foot's directly behind your foot. So that when you bend that knee, and again, you can kind of come to your forearms on the wall and bring your head just kind of to rest or release, and let yourself really focus on that calf, your right calf. Engage your belly. Good. And then from here, walk yourself on the back, and let's come into like a down dog at the wall. Now you know if your shoulders don't allow you to do this, stay up higher with your hands and kind of lengthen your back out as best you can, or you can go as much as parallel to the floor with your body. So you're bent to 90 degrees at your hips. If you're wrist boggy, you do fists, right? You don't have to be into flat of your hands on the wall in order to get a lot out of this pose. Imagine your tailbone and your sitting bones reaching back behind you, and your back being nice and flat. So you have, again, all this space in your spine. Good. And then let yourself walk on back towards the wall. We're going to turn on around, and we're going to come down onto the floor, onto our bellies, with our feet back towards the wall behind us. So take your time, come on down. Rest your head for a second if you can on your hands. And then go ahead and bend your knees. Let your feet circle around. Move around. You can do your feet moving however you want back there. And you can do the little windshield wiper blades if you want, if that feels good on your back. I like to open and cross my ankles, open the legs out, and then cross my ankles. That feels really good to me, my hips. And just kind of play. Good, and then come on back into bringing the feet on down underneath you. Curl your toes under for a second on the mat, or at least come to the tips of the toes. And see if you can lift your knees up, right? So when you lift your knees up, your thighs are up. You're stretching out the bottoms of your feet and your toes a little bit. Engage your belly. Go ahead and let your tailbone curl down a little bit. It's fine to let yourself find that going on. And then go ahead and release. Come back to the tops of your feet. And let's come on up into a Sphinx pose with our elbows under our shoulders, only if that's comfortable. You know, if that's too much for you, come down lower, slide your elbows down more towards your waist. Or you can have the arms up too, right? Either one of those is still a back bend, right? So be mindful, let it feel where you're okay, you don't feel as stressed at all. And then bring your gaze there between your hands for a second. Just let yourself feel length in the back of your neck and throat. So rather than lifting your chin up and forward, instead, you're bringing your gaze down so that you find release in your neck. And then go ahead and bring your hands together. Clasp them, send your pinky finger out, and go ahead, bend your knees, lift up into a little half forearm plank if you can. If it's too much, don't do it. You can pull yourself towards the front of the mat where you feel even more engagement in your belly there. Or you can put your feet down and lift up into a full forearm plank if you choose to. You can put your toes down, lift up, come into that plank. Either one is a lot of work, right? So you find which works for you. Good. One more breath. And then we'll come on down. And make that little pillow with your hands again. Turn to put your left side of your head on your hands. Good. And now bring your right knee. It's still on the floor, but it's just going to come out but right to the side of your mat a little bit. So you're bending the knee and you're looking towards your right elbow. Your knee and your elbow are then both kind of thinking of coming towards each other a little bit. And then once you get to a spot where you can relax, just relax. So breathing into your low back, letting your hip, that right hip, really release there. Half frog. You know, if you want to bring your head back to center and lift your head off your hands a little bit, you can. I mean, some people like to come to their forearms in this pose, right, which is a back bend. Totally optional to do that. Now come on back with that right leg to come under you. Turn your head now to look to the left and draw that left knee just off the mat a little bit there to the side. Just a natural hip turning out here. And then just breathing into your low back. Good. One more breath. And then let your leg come back under you and see if you can stretch your arms up towards the front corners of your mat. If that hurts your shoulders, don't do it, okay? And then from there, see if you can just lift your head, just to barely clear your nose off the mat. So that's a little bit of back work right there, right? If you add your legs to lift up a little bit, that's even a little bit more. And if you want to lift your hands up, man, that's the crowning blow, so to speak. If you like to lift your arms up, you can too. Locust pose. Variation now. We're going to come on down, and we're going to shift back towards pose of a child. So bringing our big toes together, knees however far apart you like. Stay up with your hips if you need, and let yourself just release your head down, maybe like onto your hands. If that's all your knees want you to do, don't go any farther. If you're fine to shift your hips back towards your heels and that feels really good to you, go right for it. That's fine. Now you can use your hands again as a pillow, or you can leave your arms soft overhead. Or you can bring your arms back alongside your legs with the palms turned up. So we're all different about how child's pose feels to us. Just be mindful. And sometimes this pose actually causes feet to cramp a little bit. So don't worry about it. If it does that, just come forward and kind of tuck your toes a little bit under and release a little. Don't force it. See if you can breathe into your low back. Good. One more nice full deep breath. And now bring your hands back by your knees We're going to rise on up and bring our legs around. And we are going to sit. So if you know you like to sit up higher on something, grab a blanket. If you want to sit up on a blanket, do. We're just going to bring our legs, well, first just bring your legs out and kind of do what you need to do. Release your legs, shake them out a little bit. Feel pretty good in your legs. And then we're going to bring our feet both onto the floor. Now this is not easy actually. So your feet can be a little apart. If you're comfortable to have them together, do. All right? And you can hold behind your thighs because you're going to try to sit up as tall as you can. Now you don't want to have the knees real close to you. That makes it even harder to sit up. So having the feet out a little further usually enables you to be able to sit up taller easier, right? Good. Now we're going to twist. This is going to be the fun part, right? So we're going to twist to our left and bring our right arm kind of to the outside of our left knee there. And then just let our left hand come behind us, fingertips lightly touching the floor. Feel your feet on the floor. Lengthen up through the top of your head. Good. Nice. One more breath. And as you come back to center, bring both hands behind you. Walk back a little bit. Now you can stay on fingertips or you can go right flat onto your palms and let your chest open a little bit here. So I like to be up on fingertips, but if you want to go back further, you can. And imagine there's a string drawing your chest forward on a diagonal line. Look where it feels good for your neck, maybe forward. Maybe a little bit up. That's up to you. And then release your chin down towards your chest as you come on back up. Hold there below your knees again. Lengthen upward into the long spine. Nice inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to twist the other way. So left arm comes across to the outside of your knee. Right fingertips lightly touching. Try to lengthen up as best you can. Feel your sitting bones drawing down. Feel your chin about parallel to the floor. Now think about your left sit bone drawing down a little bit more. Good. It's really kind of an intense twist. One more inhale. And on the exhale, come on back around. Let your chin down, come down towards your chest for a second. And then from there, start to bring your legs out longer. And we'll come a little bit forward. Now, everybody in this forward bend, if you need to bend your knees, do. Remember, you don't want to come forward from rounded shoulders. You want to think of coming forward almost from your low back. You can reach wherever you want, your hands, right? You can hold on to your toes. You can put your hand beside your legs on the floor or on top of your legs somewhere. Good. And try to let go through your face. Good. One more breath. And now we're going to come on back up. And we're going to come down onto our backs on the floor. So you might need to get stuff out of your way. Let yourself come on down. Once you get down, bring your right knee in towards your chest and extend your left leg down long on the floor. Feel that right leg coming into your hands as you flex your feet gently. Let the back come into all its natural curves there. You're supported by the floor. It's easier. Good. We're going to switch legs. Bring our left knee in and extend our right leg down long. Flex again through the feet a little bit. Draw the toes back just gently. And then again, just let yourself feel that support of the ground. Good. And then let's bend both knees, bring our feet to the floor. Bring your arms out beside you into a T position for a second. And just let the knees easily come from side to side. And that may not be far. You may just want to barely shift one side and the other. Or you might want to go lower with your knees towards the ground. You might want to let the breath move you. You might want to let your inhales bring your knees up. Your exhales, bring them to a side. And they inhale, come up again. Or you might want to hang out with your legs on one side, right? So if you need that release of letting the legs just stay on one side because that feels really good to you, then do that. Good. Come on back into center with your knees now. Bring your arms down alongside you. And then bend your elbows to 90 degrees. Let your elbows come in as close as you can towards you. Let your palms face each other like you're a robot. And now get your feet set up so that they're a little wider than mountain pose, but they're not that much wider. They're kind of towards the outside edges of your hips. And then press into the backs of your arms. Feel how your chest automatically rises up. And then lift your hips up a little bit. And then come on back down to the floor. So we're going to do that little bit of moving into the bridge. So pressing into the arms and inhaling, rising up as high as you want to go. And when you exhale, you're going to let yourself come back down. So the inhales rise you up, and the exhales lower you back down. And if you've had entirely enough of that moving and you want to stay up, go right ahead. That's up to you. If you feel like you'd rather move up and down still, or maybe you're like, yeah, well, I'm just really wanting to grab a block and put it underneath me. I don't want to do any more of this at all. Working hard, I want to be supported. You can do that. Now you'll feel your thighs in your bridge pose. You certainly don't want to feel it in your back. Time. You know that if you want to be done with bridge anytime, you don't have to wait for me. And if you are, make sure you release your back the way you need. You can bring your knees in towards your chest. You might feel better to bring one knee at a time. You might feel like you want to do a happy baby pose. You might feel like you want to bring the soles of your feet towards each other into a Vikonasana, which releases the hips in the back. Or another kind of twist. Listen to what your body just really wants to do, right? You may just want your knees to come side to side again. So remember, when you get ready to start to settle in for Savasana, you want to be comfortable. I'm going to walk around and look. See if anybody wants to bolster. You need to wave at me if you'd like to bolster underneath your knees. Or if you want a blanket around your head. So be mindful. Let yourself take your time to feel kind of where your arms and your legs want to go. Just release now into feeling the ground supporting you. Appreciating the ground underneath you, that firmness, so that you can really be aware of how much you relax when you're on the firm floor instead of a softer bed. You can feel that contrast between the softness and the your muscles against the firmness of the floor. Feel how your joints release a little. Let your face soften. And let your breath lead you into that quieter place just by watching it. Just by accepting your breaths in and out and focusing on the breath and refocusing on the breath again and again. Giving yourself these few minutes. Trusting that your body is going to get what it needs from everything we just did. And just allow yourself to completely and fully relax. refreshing you, bringing you back into wanting to move again. So that your fingers and your toes, if they can lead you into moving, your hands, your feet joining, and eventually coming up into your arms, your legs. Maybe you even want to let your head roll side to side. Taking your time, stretching if you need to stretch, or bringing your knees in if that feels better to your back. You know you're welcome to roll to either your right or your left side if you're comfortable to do that, coming into a soft fetal position. Maybe even using your arm as a pillow if you don't have a blanket there. Easy, so that when you do feel like you're ready to rise up, it feels like the next natural thing to do, to come up, to sit however's comfortable. You know, you may want to put a blanket underneath you. You may want to stretch your legs out. You might want to sit cross-legged. Just let your eyes gently close and enjoy having your head up there again on top. Feeling that lightness of your head though, so it's very easy to feel the length in your spine. And on your next exhale, let your hands gently come to meet there in front of your chest. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste.
Namaste.